Hello and welcome back. We've just had a very exciting week with the curriculum review for 2025 being published, and we've heard quite a lot about the new Oracy framework that the government's going to develop as a result. So half term for me just seems to vanish in a blur of admin. Does that happen to you too? I spent half term knee deep in tax and compliance paperwork, just trying to ignore the part of me that wanted to be expressive and creative and outdoors. By the time I finally reached the end of it all, I rewarded myself with a swim in a quiet sauna, or so I thought. The sauna was empty when I arrived at 3 p.m, and then someone walked in and before long began explaining meditation to me because I had closed my eyes. I tried to listen politely, but as he spoke over me, I felt that familiar realization that this was much more like a monologue than a dialogue. Then someone else arrived a few moments later and did the exact same thing. To my surprise, he had a similar tone of voice, and when I attempted to speak, he talked over me too. I put this down to enthusiasm. After all, he had so much to say. It was as if he'd crammed for an exam rather than a conversation. Once again, I listened politely, but again, it really didn't feel like a genuine dialogue. That experience has stayed with me as I thought about the new Oracy framework. And it struck me that what happened in the sauna that day wasn't really about meditation at all, but it was about the rhythm of conversation, the give and take that allows genuine dialogue to unfold. In education, we often focus on helping children to find their voice, but true oracy also depends on learning to listen, the kind of listening that creates space for others to be heard, the kind that recognizes when to pause, and that also values silence as much as speech. As I reflected further, I realized that the rhythm of conversation is shaped not only by individual awareness, but also by the social and economic contexts in which children grow up. Opportunities to build strong foundations in oracy vary widely, often depending on a child's exposure to rich spoken language at home and also in their community. The 2025 curriculum review highlights that in areas of social disadvantage, children may have limited access to varied vocabulary and opportunities to extended dialogue. This can be compounded by factors such as special educational needs and disabilities, and also English as an additional language, because families can face additional pressures that can affect both time and emotional bandwidth for conversations. Caring for a child with special educational needs and disabilities, for example, can also have economic implications that further widen the gap. We see this a lot because, you see, if a parent needs to actually stop their career in order to look after their child, then there are obviously lots of implications for that family, both financially and emotionally and in terms of stress. And the other side of this is that the parents who have got access to what we might call cultural capital, they're in a position to actually research how the system works, that sort of thing, and get advice on filling out forms and so forth. Those parents are going to actually manage the resources that are available for their child's special educational needs and disabilities so much more easily than would a parent, say, with English as an additional language. So, when oracy is developed through a liberal arts education, there are many added benefits. And these include listening with discernment, problem solving, critical thinking, and diplomacy. And I'm referring to this because the curriculum review did actually place quite a lot of emphasis on the arts in education. But I also want to just draw attention to the fact that each arts subject approaches the disciplines of communication and expression in specific ways. So drama lessons, for example, we have the power of dynamics of social interaction. These are explored in different ways, but include rich engagement with text, analysis, and synthesis of the characters throughout a play. And in music making, everyone who sings or plays or engages collaboratively achieves an intelligible blend and balance of voices. And this too generates profound experiences, not just of how to communicate and to work together collaboratively, but also feelings of belonging and inclusion. Now, when I think about Oracy through the lens of rhythm, which is common to drama and music, I'm reminded that conversation is as much about timing and attunement as it is about words and vocabulary. For many families, especially those under pressure, the rhythm of daily life can make it hard to find those rare reciprocal moments of conversation that children really do need if they're going to thrive socially, emotionally, and academically. This is why the new Oracy framework will need to go beyond speaking skills and will need to build Oracy into all the subject disciplines. It's just as important to nurture listening and to encourage sensitivity to the subtle rhythms of empathy in human connection as it is to build vocabulary and confidence in speaking. Unless we attend to this rhythmic aspect of Oracy, attainment gaps between the disadvantaged children and the others in their class are going to continue to grow. This is really because listening and rhythm are integral to communication. These are the invisible threads that connect language, learning, and belonging. If this kind of thing is of interest to you, you might like to join my monthly newsletter for reflections and practical ideas that will help to strengthen Oracy listening and communication for all children. So do visit my website so that you can join up. At Rhythm for Reading, we see how refining a child's sensitivity to rhythm can transform not only their reading, but also their oracy, their sense of belonging, and their capacity to learn. When children begin to tune into rhythm, they start to listen differently. They pause before responding. They notice the flow of dialogue, and they begin to experience communication as a shared experience rather than a performance. The benefits of this work become really tangible when teachers begin to notice subtle but powerful changes in their classrooms. Children start matching their timing with others rather than zoning out, whether they are singing, reciting a poem, or reading aloud together. Teachers hear clearer voices, more confident expression, and a growing sense of social connection. The children are no longer confused by teachers' instructions or by the texts, but they're able to assimilate these with ease along with the rest of the class. Here are a few examples from Year 3 teachers who've seen these changes firsthand. Susie, not her real name, auditioned for and was cast in the Christmas show. She read well, with confidence and with expression. She normally shies away from reading aloud, especially to the class. John, not his real name, is definitely more engaged with texts and is far more vocal with questions and starting to offer insights into the texts we read. Here's another one. Louis, again, not his real name, an excellent use of descriptive language to contrast different settings and plot development. And lastly, Shariva, again, not her real name. She showed clearer understanding of the different character relationships and the text to evidence her opinions. These reflections capture something profound. When children feel safe, seen, and rhythmically attuned to those around them, their confidence really blossoms. They begin to listen and respond and express themselves with clarity and joy. At its heart, Rhythm for Reading is about more than literacy. It is foundational because it's about helping children feel safe within themselves, with others, and within their school community. When they feel safe, seen, and in sync with those around them, their confidence grows and their voices emerge naturally. By nurturing rhythm and listening, we give children the tools to connect, to understand, and to express themselves with clarity and empathy. And this is the essence of Oracy and also of lifelong learning and belonging. As schools look ahead to the new term, many are rethinking how to strengthen Oracy and listening across the new broader curriculum. Over the coming months, I'll be sharing more about how Rhythm for Reading can support this work and can help children step into the rhythm of confident communication. And if you'd like to stay connected and be amongst the first to hear about new opportunities launching in January, you can join my newsletter on the website. Thank you. Bye.